Welcome back to Uxbridge FM's History Show, and it's a pleasure, as usual, to welcome back Ken Pearce, who is chairman of the Uxbridge Local History Society. Hi, Ken.
Hello there.
Now, we have a talk on unusual happenings. I like these ones. This is Unusual Happenings number 2.
Yes, indeed. Well, I'll begin with a very brief one. In the early years of Victoria's reign, the Dean of Westminster Abbey was a man called William Buckland, but he was also a leading geologist, antiquarian, and fossil collector. And I quote from a book I came across called The Origins of Britain. Buckland's knowledge of natural phenomena was extraordinary. He is recorded as being lost at night when travelling from Oxford to London. So stooping down, he picked up a handful of soil, sniffed it, and said, "That's Uxbridge." He was right. Now, whether you'd be able to do the same today, I doubt. Anyway, let's move on to episode number 2. In the early 19th century, the country was riddled with cholera, and our district was no exception. And the main cause was dirty water. There were wells and pumps and, of course, river water as well, but it wasn't always clean. The disease travelled rapidly from person to person, and death came quickly. This is well illustrated by a letter written from Windsor Street in 1834 by a man called John Farrant. Writing to his son, he says, "Since we last saw you, there's been some very awful visitations by sudden deaths of individuals whom you know very well. First, old Johnny Elton the butcher. He'd been out to a raffle at the White Horse, and he'd won the article raffled for when he was suddenly taken ill and died before he could be taken home. Since then, medical men say many have died with cholera. This morning, poor Dick Hintess was found dead on the stairs of his own house. He'd been out to the grapes, had sung 2 songs, and after 11 o'clock it is supposed that he went home intending to go to bed. He had taken off his shoes and stockings. It is reported that he always knelt down at the bottom of the stairs to say his prayers, and he was found in this position next morning, dead and stiff. I went to the house to see his body, the appearance of which was anything but pleasant." It's clear that when death came with cholera, it struck swiftly. Now the story of a balloon ascent in the district. About 1832, an Irish engineer named James Stacey opened a gasworks in the town. It was by the canal behind the Dolphin public house. And not longer after the opening, a noted aeronaut named Charles Green arranged to visit. Around this time, Mr. Green had actually made a balloon flight from London to Germany. When the date and time of his proposed ascent in Uxbridge was announced, there was great excitement, and on the day of the event, the town centre was deserted as people rushed down to Rockingham Road to watch the event. As the balloon filled, Mr. Green intimated that he would be willing, for a consideration, to take a gentleman up with him in place of his assistant. The basket would only hold 2 people. This required money and courage, and several people possessed of one did not fancy of parting with the other. After a considerable delay, Mr. Harmon, proprietor of the local brewery, took his seat in the balloon. It was rumoured that the payment he made was £10. The ascent was made and the landing effected without any incident, and for a very short time Mr. Harmon was regarded as a hero. Others thought that although the matter had ended happily, discretion would have been the better part of valour. And finally today, a story from much more recent times, from 2011. Headline in the paper: Pigeons flock into office after learning to use revolving door. Pigeons are causing chaos at a pharmaceutical company's headquarters after working out how to use the electronic revolving door. Staff at Celgene Corporation have seen them enter the office in Uxbridge and flutter around reception. The birds had learned to hop onto a motion sensor which activates the doors when someone approaches, before they strutted through the entrance. One worker said, "Some mornings you arrive to find a few pigeons, but by lunchtime there could be as many as 10. The place is covered in feathers, and sometimes there's a queue of birds outside waiting to activate the sensor." And quite a few people got hit. Executives called a pest control company who put imitation fire gel by the doors. The birds are scared by its fluorescent glow, and now they stay away. So much for Unusual Happenings Part 2.
Oh dear, clever pigeons. That's a good one to end on today, I think, Ken. Oh dear. Thank you very much. That's great.
Thank you.
And I guess we'll be joining you in July for some more. You never know.
I sincerely hope so.
Yes. Take care in the meantime.